Back live, everybody. It starts with a series of accidental drownings, supposedly accidental drownings, in which the victims have almost always been popular, athletic young college guys with pretty good grades. Now, most of the victims had been drinking before they disappeared in near freezing water, and the creepiest thing of all, a smiley face was drawn near where many of their drowned bodies were found. In a broadcast exclusive, the men who first broke the news of the linkage between 17 smiley-faced murders for the first time ever are here to reveal who they think the killer or killers are. They are on your left, retired NYPD Detective Kevin Gannon, and on your right, college professor Douglas Gilbertson. And Professor, you hail from the area in Wisconsin. You teach there. Is that close to La Crosse, Wisconsin?
It's about a 3-hour drive from St. Cloud.
But 8 of the cases are Wisconsin cases around that one town of La Crosse. And the reason, Kevin, I want to ask you or start there is that the FBI has reviewed the 8 cases in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and the FBI says, based on its review of the submitted case materials, quote, that no evidence exists to support the conclusion that a serial offender has been targeting males in La Crosse. None of the cases have been linked forensically. No singular or unusual behavior reflected in the cases that would support their linkage to a common offender. Okay, let's stick with these 8 victims. The FBI said they're not linked. Why do you think they are?
Well, in 6 of those 8 cases, as you can see there, in the 6 cases, the victims were coming out of only 2 bars in all of La Crosse. La Crosse is a community of 3 universities, about 55 bars in like a 6 or 7 block radius. And 4 victims came out of 1 bar, and 2 victims were last seen coming out of another bar. That, to me, seems very compelling and shows there's got to be some kind of linkage there.
Okay, so the origination of the victims, the night they drowned, 2 bars out of the 55.
Correct.
Okay, point 2, evidence from 5 of the victims found at the foot of this statue. Can you show the statue right here, Peter? Yeah, in La Crosse. What about this, Kevin?
Well, that's this 12-foot Indian iconic statue that is in the north end of the park there, right alongside the Mississippi River. And there, the scent that was found from bloodhounds and cadaver dogs showed that 5 of the victims, 5 of the 8 victims that drowned, their scent was there, and property belonging to the victim was located. Hats, their wallets, summonses that one of the victims received.
All right. Now, Professor, what do you make of this, that this particular statue is a magnet, evidently, for some of this forensic evidence?
Well, it's a part of all the pattern that we see, and that's one of the things that first attracted me to La Crosse in particular, was the consistency in the victimology, the types of victims and so forth. And then in this particular case, there's a clear pattern that evidence keeps showing up in the same spot. That doesn't sound like an accident to me.
All right. Now, you mentioned the victimology. The type of victim is very interesting. I mentioned that they were college kids, good builds, pretty good grades. You say in your study here, no short or obese men were victimized. No tall obese men were victimized. No short or tall underweight men, but all the victims in this range of normal. What's the significance?
Well, we have just one statistical outlier at the top, but it still is not off to one side or the other. It's not an extreme. What I used there was, and you can find the calculation for body mass index at the CDC website, but I calculated the body mass index for the victims that we have in our data set, and that's how they plot out. Now, you can't tell me that if we had a normal distribution of society, of a sampling from a population, we should have extremes on the end. We should have those short, skinny people, short, fat people like me, and tall, fat people and tall, skinny people, and you just don't have them. So that tells me that we don't have a normal distribution.
So does that tell you that a specific type of young man was being targeted by the smiley-faced killer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
And Kevin, a detective, does that tell you that there's one killer or there are multiple killers? Is it a ring of killers?
Multiple killers. We know that because we have multiple victims on the same nights in different locations, hundreds of miles away. In the 17 cases now that we can prove homicide out of the 50 cases that we could link, that the professor has linked, In 7 of those cases, the victims were not only held for a period of time, but they were dead before they went into the water, like Luke Coleman here.
Like the young man pictured here.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, so what about the smiley face? Is that a taunting of the authorities?
We believe it is, but there's another meaning the professor could speak to. There's obviously intended message left behind with the smiley face. In Luke's case, he came out of the bar, was missing on the 30th. LaCrosse did a search on October 1st. They brought in 2 sets of bloodhounds and a cadaver dog. They then hit, the bloodhounds both hit on a vehicle in which it showed that
Vehicle pictured here.
that Luke Holman was slid in from the rear driver's side door over to the passenger side door.
What's the motive?
Well, we're not going to get into a motive right now tonight. I want to tell you prove first that the case was homicide before we get into any
Satanic?
No, not at all. No way.
Why the smiley face? I don't understand the symbolism.
Part of it is a taunt, like you said.
Just mocking. Just mocking us.
Part of it, yes.
Do the victims' families agree with you, Professor?
Yes. The families who have given us the cases, and that's one reason you only see 17 out of the 50. We have 17 families and our own personal effort where we've managed to get together all of the reports and photographs, and we've been able to prove that those were homicides. So we need more information on the rest of the cases.
Good luck with the pursuit. Let us know. Coming up.